to Crafting on the Plains. My name is Jacinta and this is my channel, mostly about count and cross stitch, but also about sometimes knitting, sewing, quilting, and any other crafty endeavors that I happen to get up to. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much, whether you are a new viewer or a returning viewer. I really appreciate you taking the time to spend a little bit of crafty time with me. So I hope you enjoy it. Today I have got a lot of stuff. I've got stitching, I've got haul, I've got knitting, I've got a knitting finished object, and I have a new craft that I'm going to be doing. So I'm really excited to just get into it. Also, if you have not, please consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel. It does help me out to get my channel promoted to other people, and also it will mean that you will get reminded when I post a new video. So thank you so much for considering doing that. It's been a few weeks. I think it was 2 days after I filmed and posted my last Flosstube, I woke up and was so sick. I ended up having the flu, like I know a lot of people have, so I hope that everybody is staying healthy and, you know, feeling okay. But yeah, it was very rough, and I thought at first, you know, okay, well, if I'm sick, like at least I'll get to lay in bed and do a bunch of stitching. But I could not even do crafts, you guys. I could not even stitch. I had several days where I didn't do anything other than just lay there, basically. So I was really sick, so I did not get as much done as I wanted to. I did get some stuff done though. I did not achieve all of my goals, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I'm going to just get right into the stitching. So I do not have any new starts, which puts me a little bit behind for my freebie. Sal, I'm still going to start a freebie this month. I had planned on doing a Valentine's freebie, but that just getting sick kind of threw everything a little bit for a loop. So I have a different freebie that I'm planning on starting that you will see next video. But yes, I am still moving along. I also, by the way, I still have a little bit of a cough. So if you see some weird edits, it's because I had a coughing fit and I had to edit that out. But I'm going to try not to bother you with the coughing too much. So the first one that I'm going to show you, I kind of have these in like a really random order, but this one is actually a project that I did not have planned to work on at all. And that is right here. It is Vicious by the Artsy Housewife. So here you go. My needle minder is kind of askew, but yeah, here is my progress. I don't think I have a before picture because I haven't worked on this at all this year, but I will post a picture of like the final, the design, the cover photo, because I have it as a digital, but it is so cute. This one is a memorial piece for my cat that we lost late last year, and so it does make me really happy to work on. I mostly worked on, I did some fill-in of the cat's body, and then I also worked on, I finished outlining this leaf. I outlined this leaf and then I started filling in this one. So it's been quite fun. This is with DMC, all DMCs, the called for DMCs, and then I'm stitching on the called for fabric, which is a 32 count dirty by Zweigart, and I'm stitching 2/2. This one was not a plan, and this is one of my focus pieces for this year. It's on my focus whip wheel. However, what got called was the same focus whip as the previous call, which was Wind Moon Fairy by Dimensions. And at first I thought, oh, that'll be really fun because I love that project. I'm happy to work on it a second time. But I don't know what it was. I think I just had been so excited about pulling new projects that by the time it actually came time to stitching on it, especially after being sick, I just did not want to. I just did not feel like working on it. I don't know what it was. So I just said, you know, I'm going to pull out a different focus whip and just go for it. And this one being on 32, I mean, that one's on Ada, but it's complicated. This one being on 32, it's not like an easy pattern, but it's not, I wouldn't say, I mean, it doesn't have like blends and like all kinds of, it's not full coverage. So this was a little bit of a nice thing to work on. I just worked on it for a couple nights. after I was like sick but feeling better, and I'm really happy that I did. So I kind of replaced, I sort of made an executive decision and replaced my caul. And I think that moving forward for my whip wheel, if it brings up the same thing like twice in a row, I'm just going to respin, because I've decided that that just doesn't work for me, and that's fine. We're still moving along. All right, my next project was, I'm actually going to show you my other whip caul. So this one I did not work on as much as I planned. I just pulled this out for a couple days, but that is okay. And it is, I could have pulled out the cover beforehand, but it is Moonglow by Nora Corbett. And I have really been enjoying working on this, especially for Fancy Lady February. And here it is. You can't see the very top because it is in the scroll frame, but here it's this piece, and I have been working on, what have I been working on? I was working down here, and as you can see, I started putting in a few of the beads. I don't know if I'm going to bead this one as I go, because some of the beads are quite large. Like I don't know if you can tell how big those beads are. So it does make it a little bit difficult to see the stitches around it. So I just sort of wanted to try it, experiment, whatever. But I got this scroll frame off of Amazon. I talked about it in my last video, and I hadn't even like put my project on it. So this is the second project that I have been working on. My other Nora is what went on this first, and I am really enjoying it. I think it's great. It was super easy. So you clip these little pieces on here to clip it on. It's like kind of like a Q-snap. And I don't know. I'm just happy. So it's really easy. So I have a thread that is like, I'm just holding it that way out of the way. But, it was really easy to put it on, really easy to take it off. And it's really easy. I do notice that I have to like retighten the rods. Not like this way, but like they do start to get, the fabric will start to get a little bit loose. So I have to retighten. I've also noticed that the sides do not pull perfectly taut. I think that's because a lot of times you'd have something else here. And I have seen on Amazon that, I don't know if they're by the same brand, but there was kind of like the recommended purchase option when I bought this was like some little like bungee cord clip things. So I might go ahead and invest in those. I'm not really sure. It's been fine so far. I haven't really had a lot of issues with it. I think when I was doing these really, really far out stitches, I kind of had to like hold my fabric there while I was holding the frame, but that was fine. It didn't bother me at all. But other than that, I'm really liking it. As far as like through the middle part, it's not drum tight, it's not like a Q-snap tight. But it has a little bit of give, but not too much. And this one, again, I haven't used this for like a couple days, so I haven't like tightened it up. And yeah, I like it. I think it's good. I think it's a good like beginner scroll frame for someone who wants to test it out. Maybe you don't have a lot of beading to do. Maybe you just aren't sure. So I'm really glad I did it, because I don't think I would have ever invested in like a very expensive one, because I just did not know if I would like it. But now that I'm enjoying stitching on this one, I'm kind of thinking that maybe at some point I would like to invest in a nicer, like, more expensive, I guess, higher end scroll frame. I'm not trying to be down on this brand or anything, because it is good. And I've never used another scroll frame, so I can't tell you if any of the sort of like issues I'm experiencing are not just like normal scroll frame experiences, if that makes sense. Like when you have a scroll frame, do you have to retighten your bar, like kind of retighten your fabric each time you do it? Like, is that a thing you have to do? I don't know. So yeah, but I would say check it out if you've thought about getting a scroll frame and you are just not sure if you like one or not. For the price, I think it's a really good just like tester piece. So pretty happy with it. And I sort of got off on a tangent of like my scroll frame, but this is, again, it's Moon Glow by Nora Corbett. I am doing a conversion provided by Cross Stitch Spells on Instagram, and it is on 32 count mint by Fiber on a Whim, and I'm stitching 2/2, and it is so pretty. I feel like I'm so close to getting this done, but it is something that takes me, it feels like it takes me a long time to get a few stitches in. So, but I do love this project. And I think I might keep this out for another couple days, even after I spin my new pieces, because it is Fancy Lady February and I would like to get more than just 1 or 2 nights on this. So there's my Moon Glow. My next piece, I'll just go ahead and show you my next Fancy Lady that I've been working on. This one is Capricorn by Nora Corbett. And this one I did a lot on. So I was challenged by my stitchy friends to do 250 stitches, and I definitely did more than 250 stitches. I stopped counting after I got to that, but some of those are beads, so I don't know if that's cheating or not, but I'm counting it. Some of them are beads. And so here it is, and I'm gonna get a little bit close up so you can see. So I put this on that scroll frame and I started beading, and I loved it so much. It was so much fun. I will say, however, that I did get the invisible beading thread, and I did these ones up here in the invisible thread. And that stuff is a little too invisible, if you ask me. I had a very hard time working with it. I had a very hard time like threading my needle because it's sort of like wiry, like it's a filament thread. So it doesn't like stick together to thread your needle. And maybe you're not supposed to use 2 strands. I don't know, but I use 2 strands. So I kind of just had to like pinch it together and then like stick my needle and just sort of like hope and it was quite difficult to see. It was very difficult to see like where my thread was going. It was an adjustment for sure. It's a little, because it is a filament, it does not just like, it gets kinked up and stuff like that. So I do love how it looks. Like, it looks amazing. It's completely invisible. I mean, those beads just look like, I don't know if you can tell, but they just look like they're floating. You probably can't see that, but they just look like they're just like floating on there. They look so good. But it is a little bit difficult to do. So I did all the beading up there. And then I did all of this beading as I was stitching. So because the beads were small and they were sort of just interspersed, I went ahead and just beaded it as I went. And I think it looks really, really pretty. And then the other thing I did, which I've never, ever done before. Well, I've stitched over one before. That's a lie. I've stitched over one before. But I'm doing the skin in petite. So I'm doing 1/1 on the skin. And I found it. So it's 1/1 full cross. I found this to be quite a bit of a challenge. It wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. Because for some reason I thought it would be difficult to figure out where to put my stitches, going from 2/2 to 1/1, but seeing it, especially when it's shades of like this shades, especially the very lightest shade, which is very close to my fabric color, was quite difficult. So that has been a little bit of an adventure. I was just using my reading glasses for that. And I think what I'm going to do is when I come back to this and work on the skin again, I'm going to use my magnifier and my light. And that I think will help me quite a bit. but I didn't hate it. I found it quite satisfying. I found it difficult but satisfying to do the skin that way. And then I did a lot of her hair as well, just kind of filling in stuff on her hair. So that has been very nice. I really enjoyed working on this project. It's so sparkly. I think starting to get the beads in made me feel very, very motivated. So I'm very happy to have the scroll frame so that I can, because some of this area here, I'm going to bead it as I go, but I'm going to wait until everything except for like one floss basically is stitched, and then I'll bead it as I go, like with that floss. Because I don't think if you're beading it with the floss you're using, I don't think it looks bad. I don't know if that's not focusing, but I'm really happy with this. All right, I have 2 more patterns that I worked on. I forgot the word, projects. This one I will pop a picture. These are both digital patterns, so I'll pop a picture. This one is my stitch for the Best of British stitch along. I think I showed you this maybe as a new start last time. And it is Hair and Thistles by Wanderling Stitches. And the Best of British style is hosted by Sally of Flossie Sews and Grows. I think it might have ended in January, so I'm not sure. But I'm sure you can stitch. You can always stitch a pattern by a British designer. But here it is. I've been using this as like a fill-in project. So I'll do like an area and then I'll fill it in, either if I'm on a Zoom or just, I don't know, have something where I just don't feel like thinking, or I can't think, or I'm talking and fill it in. So I have quite a bit done. There is going to be there's a border down here and then like some more little tiny mushrooms, but the bulk of the project is really getting stitched. I think this is at like 80% or something now. I might be making that up, but that sounds right to me. And then my last stitching project is one that is in my hoop because I was actually working on it this morning. This is Portrait of Unicorn. I think it's actually called Portrait of Unicorn and Flowers. And I will post a picture of where this was. Oh, I don't think I told you. This one is on a 32 count. I think it's 32 count grandma slip by XJU Designs. And I'm stitching it 2/2 with the call for DMC. So this one here is Portrait of a Unicorn by Cute Patterns by Maria. And last time I did not have this back stitching of the mane. So I finished stitching the mane. All the stitching is done in the mane. All this stitching is done as well, but there's some other like flowers that are going on. So I didn't want to back stitch it till everything that was going to be touching was completed. But I did all my back stitching. I think I have a couple strands of back stitching left in the horn. I'm not sure why I didn't do those. I think they were a different color and I just hadn't pulled that one out yet. But I've done at least the majority of the back stitching in the mane. And then I've been stitching on these flowers, which these flowers are a lot more confetti than the rest of this was. So this is at like 85%, but it's kind of slowed down. Part of it is I hadn't been stitching it as much because I have been sick, but part of it is just that I'm getting into more confetti areas rather than like big pieces of color where I could just load a strand of floss and stitch until I run out. So that has made things a little bit slower, but the flowers are beautiful, and the flowers were the part that I was the most excited to stitch. So I'm happy to be on them. And like I said, I'm at 85%. And my daughter asks me every single day when this is going to be done for her room. And this is on a 32 count Georgia Peach by Under the Sea Fabrics. And I'm stitching it 2/2 with all of the call for. I think all of my patterns, not Moonglow, but that's somebody else's conversion. But all my patterns right now are either the called for or someone else's conversion. And that is unusual for me because usually I like to switch up my my colors and everything. So it's kind of interesting. Okay, this is later, Jacinta. I realized that I completely forgot to spin my whip wheels. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for you really quickly, and then I will edit this in, and then you'll be right back on track with the regular video. So I've got my focus whips. I'm going to go ahead and spin them. I got Ravenkin. I have not worked on this in quite a while. This is my full coverage. I'm going to go grab it for you really fast because it is actually in here. Okay, it lives in this massive, massive bag. I don't think I've worked on this year. I know I have not worked on this year. I don't think I've worked on this since like maybe October. I don't know. That's probably kind of bad. But here it is. So I don't know what percentage I'm at. I have no idea. I think it's like 27 or something like that. But I'm going to see. I have like all kinds of park threads like crazy. But there we are with Ravenkin. I'm excited to see where I get to on this. This will, I think, will be a fun project to put some stitches into. So this is Ravenkin by Heaven Earth Designs. It is discontinued. This artist is not affiliated with Heaven Earth Designs, unfortunately. So you can't get this as far as I know. But it was a beautiful pattern, or is a beautiful pattern while it was available. So there we are. And you can see I've gotten the first 2 pages up here completely done, and then I've been working on this 3rd page. So I think that's just what I'm going to do, is going to continue working on this page here. And then we'll see what I get done next couple weeks. All right, now I'm going to spin my regular whip wheel, and let's see what it lands on. Botanical Study. This was a stitch along that I started with this was a stitch along. It wasn't my stitch along, but I joined a stitch along that was started by my friend Sarah of Handmade by Sarah W. and Paper Cranny Yarns. So I'm going to go grab that really quickly and show you the project. I'm quite excited to pull this one out because this is one that I had to stop working on because of some eyesight issues. And I'm hoping that I can put some progress in on this, because if I had not been having those issues, I would have easily been able to finish this piece. So here is the cover image. So pretty. This is my pedal pusher. And this is my project right here. And I'm going to give like all the details on the floss, fabric, everything when I actually stitch on the project. But here's where I am. This is just accountability. It is quite wrinkly. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to start this out with some frogging because these flowers and this fern thing are 2 different flosses, but they do not look like 2 different flosses at all. And so in the skeins, they looked like a lot different, and in Stitched Up in Real Life, they look the same. And I want there to be a difference in the, I want there to be a difference. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to frog that. And I have another color in mind already as to what I'm going to do. So it'll be all right. And yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. So I am hoping that I can see it better and that I can actually do some stuff on it. And this will be a really good project to give me some spring vibes that I'm needing right now in the winter. Is anybody else feeling that way in the winter? Actually, I do have a question for you. What do you do, whether I know that the Southern Hemisphere is in summer eventually going into fall. What do you do when you are just the months of winter that just like Christmas is over, you're just ready for it to be spring? Like, what are the things that you do, whether they be crafting or whatever, to kind of help you feel either springy or more cozy or like whatever to kind of get you through the last couple months or weeks of winter? I would love to know. So if you've watched this far, please let me know what you do, because I am in need of some inspiration right now to get me through this cold weather. We might have snow tomorrow and I'm not excited. So yeah, anyway, those are my new pulls, and I'm going to talk to you guys about some stitching haul now. Okay, I do have some stitching haul. I actually have a lot of stitching haul, and I'm so excited. So I got to meet up with some stitchy friends who are also floss tubers. They are Red Dirt Flossworks over on YouTube, which I assume you're on right now. They are Bree and Ashlyn, and they live in Western Oklahoma, so they live pretty far from me. But they had contacted me. We, again, live in Oklahoma, and there is a store in another part of the state that sells both. I think they're a quilting store, but they've gotten into starting to sell a lot more cross stitch stuff. But there's like one store that's like exclusively in LNS, I guess, and that is Silver Needle in Tulsa. And so they have a sale once a year that's a Super Bowl sale. And it's like 20% off everything for like the weekend of the Super Bowl. And so they said, hey, we're going to go up there. We're going to make a road trip out of it. Do you want to go up and meet us? So they are, I want to say like 3 hours from Tulsa maybe. And I could be wrong. It might be 2.5. I'm about an hour and a half from Tulsa. So they drove up, and then my family, my husband and my daughter also came with me. So they dropped me off, and I ran around with Bree and Ashlyn for the day. And then my husband and my daughter, I think they went to the mall and did some other fun stuff. Cause we love to go up to Tulsa. And so we went to Silver Needle, we got lunch, and we also went to a couple other places as well. So I'm going to show you what I got. So I'm going to show you the patterns first, because I think that's the most exciting. So one that I got, this was actually on their sale table. So this one was 50% off, I'm pretty sure. And this is Blackbird Designs What Remains is Love. And I know several people did a stitch along a couple years ago, maybe last year, on this pattern. And it's one that I have wanted. I've looked at it. I love that it's a sampler that doesn't have an alphabet. Controversial take, I know. But I really, really like this pattern. But it's one that I had put in my cart, you know, when I'd be shopping, and then I'd say, I don't really need that. And then I'd take it out of my cart, put it in my cart, back and forth. So I've thought about purchasing this upon several occasions and then just never actually done it. And then when I saw that it was 50% off, I was like, okay, I have to. So I'm really excited about it. I don't have any immediate plans to start this, but I do love it. I actually don't even know how big this thing is. That's really bad. Maybe that's why I didn't buy it before. I don't know. But, oh, it's 165 by 171. So on 35 count, it was 9.5 by 9 3/4. So if I do it on 36, it'll be a little bit smaller than that. That's not terrible, actually. That's not that huge. So I could do it. I think I could do it. But I don't have immediate plans, but because it was on sale and I had been just sort of going back and forth about buying it for so long, I thought this is a sign I need it. So got it. Then I picked up, so this is one of, I love Plum Street Samplers, their little animal trios. And I'm always collecting them whenever I see them. Whenever I see ones, I have like a list in my head of like the ones I want. And this is one of the ones that I've had my eye on. I think it's a newer release. Yeah, 2024. So this is a newer release. And I have really, really been wanting it. And they had it, so of course I got it. And that is Fig Folk. And it is little, I think this was like from their autumn collection of them. But I think you could put it up any time of the year. I don't just, because like, weirdly, I think of fruit bats as summery. Because that's when we'd see them out. Like, when we'd see bats, it would usually be in the summertime. I know they're supposed to be like a Halloween, like spooky thing, but I think of bats as summery animals. But anyway, so I don't think it's focusing very well. And this picture is not the most sharpest image, but oh, there we go. So it's so cute. And they're little fruit bats. And I showed this to my daughter. She was so excited because she loves fruit bats too. Bats are pollinators. So very happy about that. I don't know when it's going to get started, but it is being added to my collection of animal trios. Is that what they're called? Animal trios? I feel like there's a name for these. All right, then my next patterns, I got a few patterns, and these ones are the ones I'm actually the most excited about. I think I might have to take them out of their little sleeves. So I have been eyeing the cottage garden samplings Year in the Woods for quite a while, but I've just never really like gone ahead and picked them up. And so when I saw that they had them, I was peeking through them, and there was a very specific one that caught my eye that I actually had not really paid attention to before. I think I maybe had seen it, but I hadn't really looked at it. And that was actually the beaver. And the thing that caught my eye about this beaver is that it has these diamonds on it. And I don't think that this was like known by the designer at all, but diamonds are a very important symbol in Choctaw culture. So a lot of Choctaw clothing has diamonds and like different motifs and things like that. So when I saw these diamonds and then it was on a beaver, I just thought that I really loved it, and it just made me think of like, I do not speak Choctaw fluently, like no, I do not at all, but I know a lot of animal names. So it made me think about it. So I picked up a couple of these, and then later on I came up with the idea of, I thought it'd be really fun to put the, like modify the pattern so that like somewhere I'd probably take out some leaves or something and put the Choctaw, like the name of the animal in Choctaw on the stitch. So beaver is Quinta. So I'm excited about that one. And then the one that I saw when it first came out and really, really wanted, but just never picked up, is this one, which is Fox. And Fox is Cholla. And I don't know where, I'll have to move some of the trees or some of the little things, but I love this one since it first came out. Also, I grew up in an A-frame, so I love that it had an A-frame. But I thought that was cute. And then this one I saw and immediately fell in love with. And if you've seen my Flosstube before, you know about my love of this animal. But this is raccoon, which is Shawi. So I'm going to stitch that one. And this one, I actually kitted up. Well, not completely. But I have fabric that's very similar to this light green. And the nice thing about these is they only call for like 2 fancy flosses. And then everything else is DMC, which is nice. So it's sort of like you're getting the flosses that are going to be variegated for you, but you don't need a ton of flosses that are variegated. So the ones that this called for was 2 skeins, because I'm doing 32 count, of Graphite by Weeks, and then 1 skein of Charlotte's Pink. So those will be here. Those will go with this one. So this one is probably going to get started this spring. I don't know exactly when, but it's going to get started this spring. I'm going to retreat, and I might start it at the retreat that I'm going to, if I think I can manage stitching on something like this at a retreat. But I'm actually going to go ahead and stick my flosses in here. That's a smart idea. Okay. And then I just picked up a couple other odds and ends. I picked up some pony needles. I love these. Actually, my friend Ashlyn, who I was meeting, she gave me a pony needle at a retreat we went to last year. I had never used one, and I just lost the one she gave me. And these things they're really short. At least the 28s are really short. So you can play some serious, you can't see the needles, but you can play some serious thread chicken with these. I love it. Like, I feel like my floss goes forever on these, with these ones. So pick those up. I got a couple colors of DMC that I just needed for another project. So I picked up these ones, which is Sampler, Gentle Arts, Treasure Gold. No, this is Classic Colorworks. Yeah, no, the Gentle Art, Tarnished Gold, Sarsaparilla, Harvest Moon, and Burnt Orange. And then I got some fabric. So I picked up, I love to buy fabric in person when I can because I can't do it often. And so I just got one thing because I was kind of like splurging. But this is 36 count cappuccino by Fiber on a Whim. And it's so pretty. It's the kind of a very light mocha-y. It's got some modeling. And I got a fat quarter of this. And so expect to see a lot of things on 36 count cappuccino by Fiber on a Whim because I am definitely going to be stitching a lot of stuff. I tend to, when I'm in person places, buy like fat quarters of neutral fabrics, and then like that's the fabric I use for all my projects that need neutral things for months and months and months. So get ready to see this on repeat every Flosstube basically. Hopefully you don't get bored by it. All right, that is all of my stitching. I do have a little bit of fabric haul that I'm going to show you because I did pick it up while I was out, and I have it right here. So I got a couple fabrics from Joann's because we went to Joann's after we finished up. And I got a couple things. So the first one that I got is this amazing print. This is a jersey knit, and I picked up 2.5 yards. This is axolotls doing a variety of things. So there's one that's snorkeling. There's one that's like listening to music. There's one that's like blowing bubbles. They're so cute. So I knew my daughter would love this. So I got this. I'm going to make her a dress hopefully soon. Definitely before summer. So I got her this axolotl print fabric. And then I found also this fabric, which is just a quilting cotton, but it has granny squares on it. And I thought that was so cute. So I got this granny square fabric, and then I got this coordinating fat quarter. It didn't go with it, but like it matches the marigold in that. So I'm going to do probably like a knitting or a crochet project bag for this. So that is all of my haul. I'm going to talk about knitting and crochet now. So if you are not interested in that, I really appreciate you checking me out, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, if you are here for knitting, I've got a finished object. I promised you guys it would be a finished object, and I made sure it was a finished object. It's not, okay, the ends are not woven in, but it is bound off. So I'm counting it as a finish. This is is this the Miserina? Yeah, Miserina. I always forget the name of this. This is my Miserina by Caitlin Hunter. If I'd have had the ends woven in, I would have worn it for you guys today, but I just did not get it done in time. So here it is, but it is completely bound off. I need to block it still. I've woven in like half of the ends, but not all of them. So here, so you can see it's a crop body. The sleeves are like slightly gathered. I love it. They're kind of like the length of this, honestly. They're kind of like bracelet length sleeves. They may lengthen a little bit in blocking, and I'm okay with that. And I'm so excited to wear it. So I need to get this finished up and blocked so I can wear it very soon. And this is the main colorway is a yarn from Apothecary Fibers. Unfortunately, I don't have any details other than that's a light fingering weight because it was like one I bought off of her at a fiber festival, and it was like a mislabel, so it was on sale. And then this one is Don't Let the Hard Days Win by Dragon Horde yarn. But I'm really happy with how it turned out. And I just need to get the motivation to weave in my ends. Normally, I'm like really happy to weave in my ends, but I think because I wasn't feeling good, I didn't want to do anything that I felt like was a chore. So I just didn't. And what I did do was cast on, I don't even know if you call it casting on, a new project in a craft that is not usually my craft. And that is a crochet project. So I have this stuffed in this like random bag of my daughter's. Because I worked on this one when we were driving to Tulsa. But this is I don't even think I have the label, but this is I will put the name of the yarn below. It's one of those like cake yarn. It's a mandala. Can't remember if it's a Lion brand mandala or if it's a care. Anyway, it's some type of mandala yarn. So it's like one of those round cakes. And you can see it comes like that. But obviously there was more to it when I started. So I picked up 2 of these at Joann's a couple weeks ago. They were on sale, and I had seen... My daughter and I were actually at a yarn store, and she saw a cardigan that was crocheted, and she really, really liked it. And at first I was like, I'm not buying this stuff for that because I'm not gonna be able to do that, whatever. And then I just started thinking and thinking and thinking more and more and more. And I thought, you know what, I think I could do that. So I happened to see this stuff on sale at Joann's, and I just thought, you know, I'm gonna pick it up. So this is, I can't remember the name of the pattern, but it's a free pattern. So I will link it below. And it's a really interesting construction. So this is what you crochet. It's this like hexagon, I guess. And it looks crazy. It's a hexagon that's like also larger on 3 sides. But what you do is you like go around and around and around in this piece, and then like magic, you fold it over like that, and look, it's half of a little jacket thing. Oh my god, how does this, like, it's so cool. So anyway, this is like a DK weight yarn. I'm using a H hook. Yeah, H or 5mm hook. Just like a random one. And it was really fun. This is what, when I started to feel better, I mostly worked on, because I think I did not need glasses. I didn't need, like, I could be just laying down and just like double crocheting all day. So there's this side, and then this side I think I had to do a little bit more yarn management on, because the cakes kind of started in different places and whatever. So it looks just slightly different, but I did a little bit of yarn management so it wouldn't be totally off. So this is the side, and I actually think this side is finished. I just need to actually end it. And so no, I think I have like 2 sides left to do. That's a lie. And so it'll go kind of like this. See? You can see how I still have a couple rows to do. But it'll go like this. And so yeah, it'll go like that. And then you seam, or you attach up the back somehow. I haven't really read that far yet. And then you do add on to the sleeves a little bit. And then there's like some type of a border that you put on it as well. And yeah, that's about it. I say it's kind of quick. I sort of stopped working on it after I started feeling better. So it's a little bit stalled out, but I did like one of these hexagons. Granted, I did it while I was laying in bed, but I did it in like, I think 2 days or 1 day I did. And yeah, I was laying in bed, not doing anything but crocheting and watching British television. But I got it done pretty quickly. So it was fun. If you're someone who has any like minimal crochet skills, you could do this. Like, I would maybe not make it be your first project, but you could maybe even make it be your first project. I don't know. I'm not a crocheter. I've literally done granny stripes, and that's about the extent of my crochet. So this is like one step beyond a granny stripe blanket, basically. And it's been really fun. So, and seeing it grow, like seeing how you'd make the corners and stuff has been really interesting. And yeah, like I said, I have done some yarn management, so I have all these kind of like random balls of yarn, but it'll be fine. and I'm very much enjoying that. Okay, so that is all of my crafting. I really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me and craft with me, and I hope that you have a great couple weeks, and I hope that you have get a lot of crafting time in.